Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Blair Nickel with FranNet. We also have Charlie McGee with FranNet. And we're going to talk about today kind of one of the number one topics that our clients have been asking for, and that is basically what Charlie and I call semi-absentee franchises. But a lot of people call them side hustles, side ventures, but they're really businesses to start while either you're employed or you're retired and kind of want something to do on the side. And we'll kind of go into the reasons of why people do this, but we're going to spend the next about 30 minutes talking about side ventures. So we'll be about 30 minutes. We'll keep this short and sweet. We'll do a quick intro of both Charlie and I and kind of the agenda. And then we're going to give you some specific examples of some of these semi-absentee franchises. So you can kind of get a little bit of flavor of what's out there. And then we'll also talk about next steps if you want to learn more. So a little bit about me. Been in franchising for many, many years. Started off, back in the latter part of the 80s with a company called Mailboxes, Etc. Now you all know it as the UPS store. My family and I were the master franchisees down in Southern California. We sold that business along with a bunch of the other master franchisees to UPS. And then got involved with FranNet literally about 26 years ago and have helped hundreds and hundreds of people find and research franchises that are right for them. And it's really neat to watch people go from a very educational webinar such as this. And if you truly have the goal and desire to want to learn about franchising or ultimately own a franchise, that literally in a few months' time, you can be the owner of your own company. So I've been doing that now for about 27 years, own some other businesses. I'm also own some semi-absentee franchises. We'll kind of save that for here in a little bit. But that's a little bit about me. Charlie?
Hey, everybody. Great to be with you. I'm located in Washington, but am working with folks primarily in Washington, but also around the rest of the country. I'm also affiliated with IBA, which is the Northwest's oldest business brokerage. I've been with FranNet now for 10 years. I've been Blair was a great mentor for me when I got into franchise consulting. Prior to coming to FranNet, I had spent over 20 years working with franchisors in operations and training roles. I've lived in the Puget Sound since '91, so I really know this market. I also I split my time between Eastern and Western Washington. Golf, outside of my family, golf is my great passion, playing, and now it's a long-term project, but putting together a backyard 6-hole loop in Eastern Washington, someday available for, I don't know the public, but maybe buy a franchise and I'll get you on the guest list to come play the loop. But that's a little bit about me.
Great, thank you, Charlie.
Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So real quick, if you're unfamiliar with FranNet, we're matchmakers. We help prospective business owners. We start with educating them about the world of franchising. We help them determine if franchise ownership is their best path forward, if it's the right fit. And then identify specific business opportunities in the markets where they want to own a business that checks their most important boxes, the things that they'd be good at, the things they'd enjoy, and the things that would help them achieve their goals. Blair and I both are brokers, but we don't think of ourselves as salespeople. We're really more advisors and guides. The franchisors, if you're a great candidate for a franchise, believe me, they're going to be trying to sell you the franchise. That's how it works. But our role is to kind of say, hey, let's be thoughtful about this. Let's look at it carefully, make sure you're asking all the right questions, and leading to a very confident decision. Even if that decision is not to move forward, we're looking out for you. So, like I said, part of our role is to help you determine, is this the right time? And is this the right fit? There's a lot of different considerations to be made. You'll notice some real differences in the examples that we'll show you. And we work with over 200 different franchisors, and the breadth of those options and differences is enormous. So finding just that right fit on your own is a tricky proposition, to say the least. Blair and I, run into that all the time. People that are trying to do research on the internet, and if they're really looking for an efficient, safe, smart way to explore this, working with someone with experience like from FranNet is the right way to do it. This last bullet here, starting a business is scary. People need help managing their fears in order to move forward, getting what they want. It's true. It's what keeps people from taking that next step, even when it makes all the sense in the world. Taking that leap can be a scary one. And we've both done it and can help you through that. So today, let's be realistic. You're going to learn some more about franchising and today's trends, and get a glimpse at a few examples. Are you going to find your best fit from today's presentation? No. I hope that it will trigger some curiosity, some further curiosity. I appreciate everybody being on the call today, and hope that we can answer some questions and lead to further conversation. So Blair and I both look forward to that.
Wait, Charlie, wouldn't you say it's fair that probably the main thing that we want to kind of get across today is that, hey, there is this category that most people are unfamiliar with of semi-absentee franchises. And, there's all kinds of them, but, we'll give you the reasons why people do it and what they look for. But that's the main thing we're trying to get across, is that there is a category, and it is the hottest category in franchising. I bet you, I don't know, Charlie, probably 80-90% of my clients right now are looking at semi-absentee franchises.
In some form or another, I would agree, Blair. Yeah, you're right. The world of franchising is a huge one, and we're choosing a particular subject to key in on, and we'll try to keep each other honest on that. So here it is: semi-absentee ownership, managing a manager that's going to take care of the day-to-day opening and closing of the operation. Who is it that raises their hand and says, hey, I'm curious about semi-absentee ownership, or maybe this is something I should consider? It's people that are seeking an additional revenue stream, maybe as a hedge against some job insecurity. Sometimes it's mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, but multi-generation type businesses, plenty of husband and wife opportunities. People that are employed, I would say often mid-career. Blair, for so many years, it seems like our median client age was 51. And then we've seen over the last few years that number kind of come down. So there's younger people now, and I'm working with a couple now that are in their 30s, young 30s in one case, that after success in the technology sector are already looking for, an additional investment. So it can be a portfolio play, regardless of your job circumstances. And also, there's a real increase in people that have retired from a W-2 full-time corporate position, who may be really perfectly positioned to lead a semi-absentee business and kind of address some of the common pitfalls of an early retirement. So we'll talk about that. So what are we talking about? Well, usually, typically, you need a location. It's going to be a location-based business where a manager is operating it. Marketing investment is what drives the business. New client acquisition, CRM, getting your existing customers to return. And some of the common verticals or categories are things like hair care, beauty, fitness, wellness. There's a whole range of them. In fact, I've seen just recently, in fact, when we were at our spring meeting where we met with all our national franchisors, there were a number of home service franchises that are now have built models around semi-absentee ownership and will validate. There's existing franchisees in the system that can attest to the amount of time they're spending in the business and the fact that they're able to maintain another job or another business. So I see this with technology improving, this trend is only going to continue and increase. So flexibility, I mean, Blair, didn't you hear lots of clients talk about one of the things that came out of COVID, people working from home and their reluctance to go back to a physical location, is that people really want a lot of flexibility with their time. They want to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And semi-absentee franchises really fits nicely into those needs. Technology where you can kind of manage the key performance indicators, the KPIs of the business remotely, it really enables people to do that. Sometimes in remote locations, I've got, there's clients that are looking at businesses even out of state.
I did it from Europe last month. So,
is that right?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I own a semi-absentee franchise, which we'll get into here in a minute, but I was perfectly able to manage it, do payroll, oversee the goals and operations from Italy. So it's the technology behind these franchises and be able to run them that way is pretty fascinating now.
Absolutely. So, for if anybody on the call or a listener is thinking about it from a retirement perspective, it's kind of what you lose when you've left a job that could create a gap in your life. Part of it is the engagement, the relationships that you have with people, spending time with people you enjoy, being part of a contributing member of a team. Also, your own sense of relevance in terms of the vibrancy of your life. What are you learning? What kind of challenges are you facing? Where opportunities do you have to exert, to use some creativity to solve problems? And maybe, for a lot of clients that are near the end of their career, that are in some type of a leadership role, often they are, great coaches and mentors to other people in the organizations. And when they leave those roles, that from an intrinsic value, it can be hard to fill. But a business could very well be a smart solution for, filling those needs. So how about some examples? We'll kick it off here with a first one, Deca Lash. So this is something in the beauty category. This is a business that in a fairly fast amount of time has gotten to over 100 open operating units. There's good availability in the Northwest. This is a classic manage the manager membership model business where your customers are going to be returning to you for a needed service. The investment is, under $500,000 for a single location. And a lot of cool things when it comes to technology. They kind of call it where beauty meets technology, and that enables owners to do all the things we talked about in terms of remote ownership and leading a store manager to find success with their team. So a good example of a beauty concept. Blair, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Real quick on Deca Lash, just
Yeah.
being a guy, I didn't really get the concept, right? And then, but as you
You don't have your
go,
lashes done?
no, I don't have my lashes done, and I'm like, well, how many people actually do this? And obviously we did a research, and it's quite a bit. And as you go to restaurants, you're sitting across the table from somebody, you kind of look at their eyelash and you go, there's a lot of people that actually have this done, and they have to maintain it once they have it done. So they're reoccurring customers. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Stretch Lab. Look, this is one of the semi-FT franchises that I personally own. I love this one, but trust me, when it came across my desk, I laughed at it. I'm like, really? People are going to pay to be stretched? And it turns out there's a lot of people that will pay to get stretched. This is an assisted one-on-one professional stretching. This is owned by a company called Exponential Fitness, which is the largest boutique fitness franchise on the planet. And they own 10 different brands, one of which is Stretch Lab. Stretch Lab is a membership-based business where, like I said, people come to be professionally stretched by certified flexologists. This is a manager-ran business, so I have a general manager that runs the day-to-day operations of my studio, and she reports to me. We also have a lead flexologist and then about 13 flexologists that do the one-on-one assisted stretching. Total investments typically about 200,000 to 300,000. Just a really neat business where there's very little competition. That is a business where it kind of gives back to the community. It helps people be healthier. And it's one of those things that everybody agrees that, hey, you know what? Stretching is beneficial, and I probably don't do it enough, and I need to do it more. And it's the number one reason as to why people hurt themselves. And so if we can prevent that, anything from somebody who has a bad lower back to, an athlete to, a grandparent who just wants to pick up the grandchild or just tie their shoes. But I would say our typical client is usually 45 to 60 years of age, just an active adult and trying to stay active. And they know that stretching is extremely beneficial. So Stretch Lab is, as well as the other 9 concepts within Exponential Fitness, are all examples of a semi-absentee franchise that you can own along with doing other things. Charlie?
Well, I've gotten stretched. I loved it. I think
Rubbish Works. I think Rubbish Works, yeah. Rubbish Works. Rubbish Works is very interesting. So this was one of those COVID honeys, if you will, just when everybody started emptying everything out of their houses and out of buildings, and we're continuing to see it, whether it be estate sales or businesses that are moving out of their offices, or again, people just trying to clean out their homes. This is a very eco-friendly junk removal type of business. They also do dumpster rentals for construction projects, or just people that just want to empty out all kinds of stuff out of their homes or office buildings. Is, like I said, very eco-friendly, which tends to catch home here in the Pacific Northwest. That's usually pretty important to people. Again, this is a semi-absentee, manage the manager type of business. It is also route-based, meaning you have a truck that handles a route during the day. It's all about adding on routes, and that's how you grow the business into not really multiple units, but multiple routes, multiple trucks. Lower investment range, since this is more of a service-based, this is not a bricks and mortar type of business. So you'll see an investment range of around 107 to 150,000, according to the franchisor. And just like I said, a very needed service, very semi-absentee. You're not going to be picking up the junk at all. You're just going to be overseeing the manager who oversees the crews that actually do the pickups.
Good business.
You got it, Charlie? There we go.
Trying.
Redbox Plus. Redbox Plus, this is an interesting one. I mean, look at it. You kind of look at the picture and you go, what the hell is that? So this is a construction related type of franchise that is semi-absentee. It's in the waste industry. So as you can see there, and it's helpful to see the picture, you're seeing a dumpster, okay, along with a porta potty, and you kind of scratch your head and you go, wait a minute, why are those two combined? Well, it's a very efficient way for construction projects to handle the waste of their construction projects. These guys handle small construction, roofing, simple remodels, things like that. And it's also from an ownership perspective. So you as the franchisee, one of the major benefits behind this particular franchise is depreciation. Okay. As you can see, this is an equipment intensive type of business. And with investment range of call it $500,000 to about 700,000, it is the highest cost, one of the ones that we're talking about today. But there is an extreme tax or a very good tax advantage to this business as far as getting accelerated depreciation. So if you're trying to offset current income, your CPA will love you for this particular franchise because you're able to reduce your taxable income quite a bit. Like I said, the contractors out there, the builders out there love this particular type of business because it's very beneficial one-stop shop for them.
And Blair, they're required to have a container and a porta toilet on every site. So rather than have to deal with 2 different vendors to get those things, they can do this with one call to Redbox.
Yep, absolutely. So very interesting type of franchise.
Okay, last one is physical therapy and balance center. No medical experience required. Really strong semi-absentee option. Lots of semi-absentee franchise owners in their system. There's already 450 open units. And this is what we call a demographically driven business concept or a demographically driven vertical, because as people get older, one of the challenges that they have, first of all, they're having more procedures, which means there's more need for rehab and physical therapy. And then one of the differentiators for this business is their balance centers, which are part of their locations. And not unlike stretching, it's something that people, it becomes increasingly important as you get older, and we have an aging population. It's up to 364,000 as an item 7, total investment to get started. Like other semi-absentee location-based businesses, Blair mentioned the way you would scale a service business that's a route business is by adding routes, by adding more vehicles. The way you scale a business like this is to open additional locations. But you have, a small team of very professional employees, and you can see kind of the liquid and net worth requirements there. It was in 2021 from Franchise Business Review, the 2021 most profitable franchise, but growing demand, a very fragmented market share, and a pure manage the manager model. So a good one to consider.
Yep. And by the way, when people ask, hey, what's the #1 franchise that our clients purchase? That was it. Physical was the #1 franchise that our clients purchased nationwide last year. It's also leading this year as well. So let's chat about next steps. Which, by the way, just a helpful hint here, in a few slides, you'll be able to get in contact with Charlie and I directly. If you have your phone handy, there'll be a QR code that's going to come up. So if you are in Washington, you're most likely going to want to talk to Charlie, and we'll be able to get you in contact directly with him. If you are in Oregon or Idaho or in Alaska, since most of the people on this call are probably from the Pacific Northwest, but if from Oregon, Idaho, or Alaska, you'll see the QR code come up for me. You'll be able to get direct contact with me. So what we will want to do is, if you're like, hey, I want to learn more about semi-absentee franchises. One, to see if it's right for me. But 2, if all is good, really start identifying semi-absentee franchise that are right for you. So we have an assessment tool that we have all of our clients handle, and we'll get you a link to this assessment tool if you want it. And it's going to look at your background, skill sets, sample financial snapshot, personality styles, some things that you think you want to see within your business. It's not going to find a specific franchise that's right for you, but it's going to describe a style of franchises that are going to be right for you. It will also identify, hey, are there any red flags that you should be aware of as to, hey, maybe this isn't right for you. So it's going to produce about an 11-page report specifically for you that we'll go over with you. It only takes about 20 to 30 minutes. And by the way, there's no charge for Charlie's and I's services to help coach you through this process as well. There's no charge to take this assessment tool as well. And then we're going to try to figure out which path is going to be right for you. We also have some very helpful tools out there that we can email over to you. One's called the Roadmap to Success, and it's going to lay out the entire research process for you, so you kind of know what's ahead for you. Charlie and I also have other educational webinars on franchise ownership that we can send to you. So we have a library of stuff to help you see if this is right for you and help guide you down the right path. So we do have a 4-step research process. So number one, grab a little pointer here. Can't find my, hold on, going too fast. So first you're going to want to complete the entrepreneur profile, which I suggested. And then Charlie and I are going to help you build a business model together, which is really a recipe or a blueprint of what's going to be right for you. What elements are going to be in a business so that we know, both you and Charlie and I know what it is that you're trying to find. And then that's when Charlie and I really step into our work, is trying to find the franchise that are a right fit for you. And then we'll go to step number one, which is you're going to meet and talk with the franchisors. And then step two is the most important part, which is talking to their individual franchisees. All right. So you got to remember, the franchisors are going to probably share with you everything that you probably want to hear. The franchisees will tell you what it is actually happening within that particular franchise, where they do it again, how would they do it differently, how supportive is the franchisor, how much money can you make? And Charlie and I are going to arm you with a bunch of questions and suggestions to talk to not only the franchisors, but also the franchisees. And then the last step is attending a discovery day, whether it be virtual or in person, which is where you go and visit the franchisor's corporate headquarters to really meet their leadership team, see the actual headquarters. And then you should be able to step away from that discovery day knowing whether that particular franchise is a good fit for you. Usually our clients will look at multiple franchises at any given point in time. So you are comparing, contrasting franchises. And think of this as going to look for a house to buy. All right. It's the exact same process. It's just we're talking about a business here. But we'll help coach you through the entire process. Okay. So get your phones ready, or at least your cameras ready. So there are the QR codes to reach out to Charlie and I directly, as well as our personal cell phones and email addresses. So again, if you're in Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska, you'll want to reach out to me. If you're in the state of Washington, you want to reach out to Charlie right here. Okay. But again, feel free just to call us directly and we'll be happy to help you too. So whether there's any questions in regards to this workshop, or if you have questions in regards to franchising in general, or just kind of see how we can help. So Charlie, any last minute thoughts?
You know, I got a note from somebody that they were having trouble with the chat. Blair, is there, do you, I don't see any questions in the chat, but
Nope.
If by chance you were trying to ask a question and didn't, you know, were unable to, please reach out to us, a quick email or call. We'll answer your question and see how else we might be helpful to you. Really appreciate your time. I think we're, yep, it's 12:30. So until we meet again, Blair, great to see you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Good information. Good luck with Stretch Lab, the business this spring. I know it's going great.
Yep.
And we're here for you. So let us know how we can help.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.